What's up guys, TSL here back with a brand new video. In today's video I will be continuing how to make a game like Dungeon Quest, aka the how to make a dungeon game series. And in today's video we will be finishing up what we started last video, so the stuff with like creating the room and stuff. So let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is going to make that local script that will be in charge of updating our list, like the list. By our list, I mean the list of all the dungeons that are created so that people can join. So what we're going to do is go into starter player and starter player scripts and insert a local script. This local script is going to be called update list. Alright, so first things first, we want some services. Services. Now we'll need 2 services, and then our players is equal to game:getServicePlayers, and we'll need replicated storage, so rs is equal to game:getService replicated storage. We'll also need our local player is equal to players.localPlayer. We'll get our remotes, and this will be equal to local remotes is equal to rs.remotes. We'll do local client remotes is equal to remotes.client, and then we'll do local update list event is equal to client remotes.update room list. Next, we'll make our function, and this will be local function update list. Now, this will take in the rooms, so like the list of our rooms that we pass in when we call this, and basically we'll say local screen GUI is equal to player.player_GUI find first child dungeon UI. Say local dungeon list is equal to screen GUI find first child dungeon list. And we'll do local background is equal to dungeon list find first child background. And then finally we'll do local base join frame is equal to bg find first child base join frame. Now base join frame. Now let me open up start GUI real quick into our dungeon UI. So basically we're looking for this in our players GUI. We're looking for the dungeon list frame right here. Then inside the dungeon list, we're looking for this background frame and then this base join frame right inside of it. Next thing we want to do is we're going to loop through every child in our background frame. So in bg::get children, we want to check if the child is equal to, or if child is a GUI or is a frame, we could say, and we'll do if not child is a frame or child is equal to base join frame, then continue end. So if it's one of these, then we want to continue to the next iteration. If it's not, we want to destroy that child. Then what we're going to do is we're going to loop through our room name comma room in our rooms. And for every room, we're going to make a new a clone, and that's going to be equal to base join frame clone. We'll have a local creator is equal to players get player by user ID, and we'll do room.creator. And if you remember in our server script, our main handler, we store the creator. We stored the creator inside of our room. So when we create the room, this is what it looks like, and we have this creator, which is the creator's user ID. So the creator is going to be equal to the players, players get player by user ID room.creator, which is the creator's user ID. Then what we'll do is we'll say clone dot name is equal to room name, do clone dot room name dot text is going to be equal to by colon space concatenate creator dot display name. We'll do clone dot room creator dot text is equal to, and this is actually supposed to be here, and then for the let's do that, and then for the room name we'll do room name colon split at underscore and get the first index, because remember when we create rooms it's like the room name underscore by underscore the creator ID. So if we split at the underscore, we'll be left with a array that's room name at the first index, by at the second index, and then the creator's user ID at the third. Alright, so now that we've set that, the next thing we want to set is the clone dot room creator dot user ID dot value is going to be equal to room dot creator. And basically this is going to be in our room creator, in our base join frame, we have this user ID int value. We're going to set that to the creator's ID. Alright, so next thing we want to do is clone.roomPlayerCount.text is going to be equal to our number of room.players, and we want to concatenate that with out of 8. And we want to say clone.visible is equal to true, and then finally clone.parent is equal to background. Alright, and then the last thing we do in this script is we just connect the event. So we'll have a connection, and we'll say update list event colon connect colon, or dot on client event colon connect, and we connect our update list. Alright, so we're already actually using that event in our main handler. As you see, we have our update our update dungeon list, and this is here. And if we look for that, we fire all clients when we create the room, and when a player starts the room, so that it gets removed, and when a player joins the room, so the player count goes up. Alright, so that's all there is for that one. So the next thing I actually want to do is make another local script in starter player scripts, and this will be the local script that handles all the other remotes. So we'll just call it client remotes. Let's go into our update list and let's copy these first few things. We can even copy that comment. Alright, so now that we're in here, we have this, and that's what we're going to pretty much need, except we don't need these player stuff. What we do need, however, is the lighting. That's going to be game::getService lighting. Then here we'll do local function hide blur, and this is going to basically take in the player. And then we'll say if lighting actually we don't need this. So say if lighting find first child blur, or find first child which is a blur effect. Then we'll do lighting find first child which is a blur effect dot enabled is equal to false. And then finally we just connect this connections, and it's going to be here, instead of getting this, we want to do hide blur event, and this is going to be client remotes dot hide blur. Then we'll do hide blur event dot on client event connect hide blur. Alright, and we're also already using this in our main handler because we have our hide blur event here, and whenever we leave the room we do the hide blur. Alright, so then the next thing we want to do is go into our server storage actually, and extra UI and start button. We'll make a local script in here, and we can call this start game local script. Alright, so in here we're going to need our services once again, and I actually think what we can do is just paste this here since we still had that. we can do here, what we'll need is, we won't actually need this. We'll need local start room is equal to remotes.start room. Here we'll have some variables, and this is going to be our local button is going to be equal to script.parent. Our local footer is going to be equal to button.parent. And you can't really see this right now because, well, the start button is in here, but when you will actually be able to click on it, it's going to be inside of this footer frame, which is inside of our viewing dungeon list background. You got this footer frame, so that's where that button is going to be located. We'll have a local BG is going to be equal to footer.parent. See background right here. We'll do local header is equal to bg.header frame, this one right here, and then finally we'll do local room name is equal to header.room name. Real quick, I just want to pause real quick and save this to Roblox, and there we go. Alright, so now we'll have our local functions, and we'll do local function, and we'll say, actually, instead of doing this, we can just do local connection, and we can do button dot mouse button one click connect function, and basically we'll just print start room because why not, and then we'll just do start room fire server, and the parameters we need for here is just the room name, so we'll do room name dot text. Alright, so that's it for the start button. That should already be working. But now we just need a way to create, actually create the dungeon and to join dungeons. So what we're going to do for now is go into our dungeon UI, create dungeon frame, background frame, our selection frame, our ice dungeon, and our easy button. We'll insert a local script inside of this easy button, and we'll rename it to create easy ice dungeon. In here, we'll have our services, and we'll have our local players. Local players is equal to game get service players. Our local rs is equal to game get service replicated storage, and we'll do local remotes is equal to rs.remotes. Here we'll have some remotes, and we'll do local create room is equal to remotes.createRoom, and our local update room UI is going to be equal to remotes.updateViewingUI. Here we'll have some variables, and this will have our local dungeon frame, and it's going to be equal to script.parent.parent. Our local selection frame is going to be equal to our dungeon frame.parent. We'll have our local BG is equal to our selection frame dot parent, and we'll do our local dungeon name is equal to our BG dot dungeon name, and then we'll do local create dungeon frame is equal to BG dot parent, which is this. So basically, dungeon frame is going to be script.parent.parent, so this ice dungeon frame, this the selection frame, this is the background frame, and this is the create dungeon frame, and also this is the dungeon name. Alright, so next what we want to do is our connection, and this is going to be equal to script.parent.mouse button one click connect function. And basically all we do here is create room fire server, and we want to pass in our dungeon name dot content text, our dungeon frame dot name, and script dot parent dot name. So basically this is important. So this is just the name of the dungeon. That's what the user fills out in their text box. This dungeon frame dot name, so dungeon frame is this, so this is ice dungeon, and it's spelled like that with no spaces, the same exact way that this is spelled. So we get that, and then this is the difficulty, and the button name is the difficulty. Easy, spelled the same exact way as it is here. If it's spelled any different, this will not work. Alright, so then here we'll do create dungeon frame colon tween position. Let's tween this to udem2.new, and we'll tween it to 1.5, 0, 0.5, 0. We'll do enum.easingDirection.inout. We'll do enum.easingStyle.linear, and we'll do a time of 0.25. Next, we'll task.wait 0.25, and we will do update room UI colon fire server, and basically we'll pass in our players.localPlayer, our dungeon name dot content text, and our players.localPlayer once again. So if we take a look at the parameters here, so the creator of this is going to be us because we're creating the room right now. The dungeon name, so the room name is going to be the dungeon name.content text, what the player filled out, and then the player to update for right now is just going to be us because we're going to be the only one in the room as of right now. Then we'll do another task.wait of 0.25, and we will create dungeon frame dot position is equal to, or actually we don't need to wait another 0.25. We can just do create dungeon frame dot position is equal to udem2.new of negative 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. So basically we tween this off to the right so that we can like see it sliding out to the right, and then we position it back to all the way off the screen on the left without being able to see it go there, so that if we like toggle this again, it'll slide in from the left to the center of the screen again. And that's it for this script as well. So the next thing we'll do is the join room local script. So we'll go exactly where you think we'd go. We go to our dungeon list, we go to our background in our base join frame. Inside of our join button, we put a local script and call it join room local script. Alright, in here we'll have our services. Local players is equal to game get service players. We'll do local rs is equal to game get service replicated storage. We'll do our remotes, and this is going to be remotes is equal to rs.remotes. Then the remote event we want here is our local join room is equal to remotes.join room. Then we do local update viewing UI is equal to remotes.update viewing UI. Next we have some variables, and in here what we're going to want to do is local button is equal to script.parent, our local room creator is equal to our button.parent.room creator, and our local room name is equal to button.parent.room name. Then we'll do our local base frame is equal to our button.parent. We'll do our local bg is equal to our base frame.parent, and then we do our local dungeon list is equal to bg.parent. Yeah. So basically, for these two things, we get the button and we get the parent, which is the base join frame, and then we get these things from it. Yeah. And then the rest you guys get. So then we'll have our connection, and this will be this will be button.mouse button one click connect function, and in here we'll say local creator ID is going to be equal to our room creator creator.userid.value. We'll say if creator ID, then, or if creator ID is not equal to 0, then we'll say join room colon fire server, and we pass in our room name dot text and our creator ID. Next up, what we do is we say task.spawn function. So we're spawning a new thread. We dungeon list colon tween position to udem2.new of 1.5, 0, 0.5, 0, enum.easingDirection.inOut and enum.easingStyle.linear, and we'll do a total time of 0.5. Then what we'll do is we'll task.wait 0.5, and we'll set the dungeon list.position equal to udem2.new of negative 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. And this is exactly the same thing that we did in the previous script, so I won't have to explain that. Now real quick, let's just take a look at our join room function in here, and you see it takes in the room name and the creator ID, and that's exactly what we passed in. Alright, so that's it for the join room, and now we have we have one more thing to do, and that is the leave room. So basically what we're going to do now is go into our viewing dungeon list, background, header frame, exit button, and we'll do a local script in here, and we'll say leave room local script. In here we'll have our services, and local players is equal to game colon get service players. We'll do local rs is equal to game colon get service replicated storage, and we'll get our remotes. This will be local rs is equal to rs.remotes, and this should be remotes. We'll do local leave room is equal to remotes.leave-room. Next we'll have some variables, and this will be local button is equal to script.parent. We'll have our local room creator is equal to button.parent.room creator, and we'll have our local room name is equal to button.parent.room name. Next we'll have our connection, and we'll say button.mouse button one click colon connect function, and this will basically local creator is going to be equal to players colon get player by user ID, and this will be our room creator dot user ID dot value, and then we'll say if creator, then what we want to do is leave room colon fire server, and we want to pass in our room name dot text and our creator. Alright, and that should be it. Alright, so I am going to first of all save this to Roblox and publish this to Roblox, and I'm going to go test this, and I'll be back once I get in there. Now real quick, one thing to mention: if you do this test, it won't work because you need user IDs, and these local players don't have user IDs. So you need 2 accounts, and yeah, I'll be right back. Alright guys, here we are back in our game, and as you see, nothing's really going on right now. So basically what I'm going to do is on my phone, I'm going to create a room on my alt. So I'm going to go to, on this account, I'm going to go to the play frame. Right now there's nothing there, but if I go in on my phone, create a new room, I'll call it new room, and I create it. As you see, it just popped up, new room by TSL alt, 1 out of 8 people there. If I click join, that frame goes away, but this one doesn't show up. Alright, so that's our first error. If we go to the server, we have one error. Attempt to concatenate nil with a string, and that is in our update room UI. So let's just leave this game, and I'll be right back in Studios. Alright, so I'm back here in Studios, and basically it said line 35 room room is equal to rooms, room name, concatenated underscore by underscore creator dot user ID. So the error happened when we tried to join the room. So let's go into our dungeon list, background, base frame, join button, and join room local script. Okay, so what we have to do is actually go to our join room function, because that is what calls this function. So if we go to our join room function, update room UI, our players colon get player by user ID, creator ID, our room name, and our PLR. Okay, so it said attempt to concatenate nil or string with nil. So I think that means that our creator.userid was nil. So our creator should be the second parameter. So if we see this, it's players colon get player by user ID, room name. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to print all of this out. So if we copy this, and then we print this, then if we close these scripts, and we save to Roblox and publish to Roblox. Alright, so we're back in. If I click play again, let me create the room. Call it blah and create. Alright, so if we join this, once again errors, and if we go to the server, updating, destroy is not a valid member of frame. What? Destroy is not a valid member of frame? Background.scrolling frame.base player frame. If line 60, alright. Alright, back in studios once again, trying to fix this dumb error. So it said that our line or destroy is not a valid member of frame. Alright, well I found the error. I put destroy instead of destroy, and yeah, that's my fault. So now if we close this and we save this to Roblox and publish to Roblox, I'll be back. Alright, here we are, and now I'm gonna go to play, no rooms there, create dungeon, room as the room name, easy, room name by TSL Alt. That frame slides off, and the new frame still doesn't slide in. Alright, so if we go to the server, unable to cast instance to int64. Update room UI when we call it from join room. Alright, and I'll be back. Alright, so we have one more error we have to fix. When we go down to our join room, we have to, instead of inserting the player in here, we have to insert the player.userid into this table. Alright, so now hopefully everything works. So we close this. We now need to save this and publish this, and I'll be back. Alright, so here we are. Go to play. And let me create the room real quick. Alright, there we go. Hi by TSL Alt. 1 out of 8 players. Join. Alright, and here you go. Now it works as it should. We have our room name, hi. Creator, TSL Alt. We have the leave dungeon, which is there if we want to use it. Then we have our usernames or our display names, and then if I want to, on my phone, I can click Start Dungeon, and it says attempt to teleport to a place that is restricted, and I'll show you guys how to fix that error if you're getting it yourself. So I'll be back in studios. Okay, so here basically what you have to do is go to your asset manager in places, go to here, and what we want to do is double click on Ice Dungeon Easy. As you see, it's loading me into that place, and this is exactly how I fixed it last time. I went here and I clicked publish to Roblox, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to save to Roblox and publish. Alright, and now it should work. Alright, so here we are back in the game. Let me just load in my alt. If we go create, and we go like hello, and create, here we go, dungeon, join, and if we click play, or actually that's not what I meant to say, if I click start dungeon on my phone, now what you should see is now we're getting teleported in and we're both in here. Alright, now I'm going to show you on the creator side. Alright, so back in here, and now I'm going to show you how this looks. So if we go here and this time click create dungeon, let's just do dungeon name, because why not, click easy. This is what we'll see for now, and when I go on my phone, click join dungeon, and first of all, the leave button right now isn't working, so we'll have to fix that. But first of all, if we click start dungeon, then now we both get teleported. Alright, cool, let's go fix that leave button. Alright, so if we click play and go here, that was auto completed. If I click the leave dungeon button and then I click for this, alright, so this happens to show up and there's no errors. Alright, I'll be back in Studios. So here we are in Studios. First thing we want to do is go to our viewing dungeon list, background, header frame, and our exit button. Button is script up parent button dot mouse button, one click. Alright, room creator dot user ID dot value. We'll print this as well as our creator. Save and publish, and I'm gonna go test this. Alright, let's join this. Let's click leave. Let's go to our console. We got 0 and 0. Alright, so actually I think it might be something in here. And yeah, it is. So as you see, we forgot to set room creator dot user ID dot value equal to our creator dot user ID. Close these out so that their changes get committed, and when we save this and publish, now it should work, and I'll be right back. Alright, so let's go to the playlist, make a new room, and join dungeon. Now if I click leave dungeon, you see we leave, and now we could go back here, we can join the dungeon, and okay, so this is still here, and that's not supposed to be there, so let's fix that real quick as well. There's probably something in our leave room. So if we go to our leave room function, here, alright, so what we have to do is instead of this for table.remove, we have to do table.remove table.find our room.players, player.userid, because for the remove you need to pass in the index that you want to remove, and using table.find returns you the index. Alright, so let's close that, save to Roblox, publish to Roblox, and now everything should work. Alright guys, if all goes as planned, this should be the last time we're testing. So if I go and create the dungeon, we'll say like hi, easy, and then if I join on my phone, you see we're in now. If I leave, you see we're not there anymore, and I can join up again, and now I'm back. And if I click start dungeon, give it a few seconds, and it should do this loading, and now we're in. Alright guys, well that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you out, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one guys. Bye.